Hey everyone, talking about my full bottle worthy full collection. And yeah, let's do it. So people have been asking about this since I had like 15 subscribers. Wanted to do ones of my individual reviews of each ones because those are going to be longer. This is not going to be like a full long review of each one. I'll link the individual ones in the description. I also decanted all of these and I put a section on my site, Decant Planet, where you can check out samples of any of them. But let's jump in. I'm not going to go in any particular order. Got them here in front of me, and I just kind of want to just pick something random and smell it and talk about it. So let's see. Chanel Le Lion. So I talk about this one all the time. Anybody who's watched more than a handful of my videos is probably not surprised to see this reference. Yes, so to me, this is just, yeah, I would call it a modern classic. That's what I always say about it, because it actually came out within the last like 5 years as of recording this. But it smells like it could be like a classic vintage from like the, early Guerlain Shalimar type of era and stuff like that. Just like this really nice amber, toasted, kind of smoky edges, really like dense and mysterious. And one of the few scents that has patchouli in it that I actually like. Whatever kind is used here is not the hippie-ish kind that I normally just like. Yeah, really like it. I don't wear it that often. It's definitely cold weather only for me, or it would get really cloying. But as with most of these, and I'll clarify which ones are that I own only to smell versus wear. I have to love the smell. Either way, I want to be able to just take the cap off and be like, I love the smell for the most part. Next up, Louis Vuitton on the Beach. This is definitely one of my real like all-time favorites. It's kind of like neroli with some cypress and thyme, and I just think it's the perfect take on kind of like a citrus aromatic beachy vibe that, as I always say with this one, doesn't get actual marine. So it doesn't get too like, oceany, briny, whatever, and it also isn't too like white florals by the ocean. It's just like the fun vibe of being on a beach boardwalk. Not in like the funnel cakes type of way or whatever, but just bright citrus and some nice like fresh spice, and just makes me so happy. Such a great summer fragrance. Let's go for the next Louis Vuitton Sur La Rue. This is one of my favorite fragrances of all time, and to be clear, the amount used up does not indicate how much I love a fragrance or not, actually, in this case, because a lot of these I've decanted versus like got the bottles at different times and stuff like that. But yeah, this is definitely desert island fragrance for me, or whatever, if I only had to pick a certain number. Yeah, so to me it smells like fresh citrus with like a little bit of leather in a smooth way, some like fresh green grass. There's also nutmeg in it and musk, which I never thought about at first, but now I can pick it up more, and it really kind of comes out with the clean musk and the dry down, and the nutmeg does add this sort of like bubbling warmth under the surface. This one, to me, I love to smell it and I love to wear it. This is definitely one of my most commonly worn ones. PRIN Varuek. The only one, I think, still probably in my collection. It's really like an oud animalic fragrance. I thought I just hated oud for so long, and this has Thai oud, so I guess I like that kind a lot better because this does not smell like the typical kind I hate. And this is based on the concept of like a feral wolf. The notes are animal fur, Thai oud, leather, amber, frankincense, jatamansi, coffee, castoreum, teakwood, and pine tar. Smoky, animalic. But there's something like almost like a fresh incensey incense, like almost slightly like a little bit of sweet incense sort of vibe. Like it's just very captivating and ferocious, but yet there is something about it that really balances the sort of dirty side of it. So love that. Also by perfumer Prissana Tom Yum, based on the Thai soup. Love this. And the notes in this are lime, lemongrass, kaffir, lime leaf, galunga, holy basil, coriander, dill, petitgrain, and chalud bark. So, yep, it smells basically like that kind of soup. I love that, and I also still find it super wearable. I think it could come across too like kind of bitter, sharp citrus for some people, but I'm picky about that kind of citrus, and I personally love it. Just very like bracing and sharp, fresh for a hot day, and I love that it's based on the soup. Zoologist Cow. To me, this is just the perfect, like, relaxing, sunny afternoon type of scent, or like this is one that I wear if I'm going to the dentist or something, where it's just like I just want to feel relaxed, but not like nighttime style relaxed. milky, nice like heliotrope, a little bit of violet, and then some kind of like grassy sage type of vibes. And yeah, I just think it's a really beautiful, nice scent. Some people think it's boring or whatever, but to me it's nice and I like it a lot, obviously. Okay, let's go with the other Zoologist Cockatiel. So, oh, I love the smell of this. Damn. So this is like, to me, it smells like powdery vanilla with raspberry and then kind of like a green sharp bite in it too. And for some people that really makes it too pungent. I think it's the rhubarb probably. I think there's might be some patchouli in this too, but some people just find it really gross for the way that the kind of green bite pairs against the other stuff. But to me, it just like comes together perfectly. Oh, I love the like, yeah, powdery vanilla with the raspberry and the green bite. And I like to layer this and PRIN Varuek, which turns into an almost like a niche version of By the Fireplace, because you've got the like kind of, you know, sweet vanilla side and then really like smoky. Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is one I rarely wear. I love to smell it. Like I just love to be like, ah. But it's not something that I typically would like to wear because one, I mean, that's very aggressive to wear in public and a lot of people wouldn't be into it. And two, it's not something that I want to smell for a long period of time. Like even when I've tried, I've done like a tiny bit of sprayed it and gone out. I get really, really strong projection longevity from this, and I just end up getting kind of sick of it. Like, that's too much. Like, I just want to enjoy it. This one's just really nostalgic for me because it reminds me of certain smells of the South Pacific where I spent a lot of time growing up. Oh, that fiery, yeah, it smells like a fire at night in the jungle to me. So good. And that's one that I think everybody should check out because it's so talked about in fragrance and it's so controversial. Like some people just find it so disgusting and challenging that it's good to know your opinion either way about it. The Peradam by Apoteker Tepe. Beautiful. So this is one of those ones that just really changed my mind, probably more than almost any other scent in here, because I got, you know, a sample kit or whatever from Apoteker Tepe, and definitely was not expecting to like this one. The notes are Mysore sandalwood, I think Madonna lily, and I forget what kind of jasmine, and orris butter. So I thought I disliked sandalwood because I didn't realize how different Mysore sandalwood is from, say, Australian sandalwood. I didn't think I was into lily. Jasmine, it's like, okay, I like that, definitely the smell in real life and sometimes in fragrance, but I wasn't thinking that was going to be much here. Orris, I think I was associating too much with iris, which it is part of the iris plant, but it smells very different. But this is actually one of very few fragrances that has that level of an impact that personally when I smell it, it's like, oh, that is beautiful. To me, it just smells like a fresh field of wheat. I don't know, like, yeah, I personally don't get a super floral smell out of this. It is very white floral dominant with the notes in it, and I remember wearing it once and my wife thought it smelled like she picked up the floral notes very heavily, but personally to me it just smells like fresh wheat. Oh, I just love that so much. Let's see what's next. Roja Elysium, classic modern, I guess. This is my go-to for like, well, not only formal occasions, but if I'm going to a formal occasion, especially if it's not like freezing out, and I live in Los Angeles, so, well, it does get cold here sometimes, but yeah, this is definitely what I'll wear. It's a really good combination of like very appealing, like very mass appealing. I don't think most people are going to think, ew, that stinks, you know, it's very non-controversial, but yeah, it does totally still smell unique compared to what most people around you are going to be wearing. Nice like vetiver and fresh pink pepper vibes with some citrus and very smooth florals. And yeah, this is definitely one of my most frequent wears and something for sure I would wear in any situation if I was actively trying to get a compliment or something like that. Naked Neroli by Born to Stand Out. So I love Neroli. It's one of my favorite notes. For those who don't know what it smells like, it is a little white floral blossom thing that grows on the branches or buds or whatever of the bitter orange tree. So it just smells to me like very, very just bright, natural orange, but not in as like essential oil orangey that some real bitter orange does, but to me it doesn't smell that floral, but it is technically a flower, and I'm sure a lot of people it smells more floral, but it's one of the, if not the, kind of like in modern cologne, modern being like, the 1800s and later, let's put it that way in this case. It's was one of the most long time frequently used notes. There's so many Neroli fragrances out there, so many of them smell exactly the same basically, and I'm not even in a bad way. Like, I really like Neroli, so even those samey kind of ones, I still think pretty much across the board they smell good. But it was kind of hard for me to find a full bottle worthy, especially because Neroli really doesn't work with my skin a lot of the time. Unfortunately, it just goes so like too soapy and too bitter at the same time. But this one satisfied what I was looking for, of like a clean laundry style fragrance. Not saying everybody else would get that out of it, but for me this is like, yeah, like just fresh, clean laundry with a citrusy Neroli twist. That's what this smells like to me. Orca by House of Matriarch. Yeah, I don't know why I was that dramatic about this one, actually. It's not really one of the ones that I normally would do that about, but I do like it. So this is like a nice amber with like a little bit of, it's not smoky overall, but it is almost through like a slight haze of a smoke a little bit. And there is, I forget if it's Choya Loban or Choya Nok, but I really like those. And when that's in here, there's like a tiny bit of honey for sweetness, but basically it's like a really nice ambergris amber type of scent. And I'm picky about ambergris, but to me this is like the perfect usage of it. And it has real ambergris from a whale in the 1800s. And normally I would not like the idea of real animal stuff being used, but hopefully it was something washed up on a beach. I don't know. Very, very expensive fragrance house, but they do often have pretty big sales, but the quality is pretty much always there for stuff that I try by theirs. And this one I love. Orcas are one of my favorite animals, so I was kind of like, am I just biased towards wanting this to be full bottle worthy? But no, this to me is the best ambergris scent out there, basically, and a really nice like ambery take on that. Lacoste Rouge. I wore this for 8+ years before getting into fragrance, like in terms of before becoming a real frag head or whatever. It was the only fragrance that I wore that whole time. Still one of my wife's all-time favorite fragrances for me to wear. It's basically like some kind of mango-y vibes with some warm spice. Then it dries down to kind of like a more rooibos tea and benzoin sort of vibe. I don't care about the dry down as much, but I love the opening. I just wish that this was more of the direction that designers were still doing, of like, well, not still doing, because even then it wasn't really a thing, but just like I love that kind of combination of like citrus and warm spice. And I feel like so often you either get the like citrusy shower gel sort of kind, or like something really dark wannabe designer, but that doesn't smell smooth enough to me. Okay. Fumabat by Couteau de Poche, and this is the only fragrance that they have. It's like some hipstery Brooklyn art company, I don't know, something like that. But this is like, well, I'm not going to say a modern take, because it's not even that it smells super modern, but I don't think it smells dated either. But basically, for those who are familiar with that sort of style of like 80s dark green, I was born in the late 80s, so I wasn't wearing fragrance then, but I've smelled enough stuff by now to get a grasp on that. And this is my favorite of those kind of, it's like smoky green, that's kind of what I'd call it. I really like this. The dry down of this gets too much into that sort of like oak moss patchouli chypre-ish fougere combination territory that I don't like really, but I love to wear this like if I know I'm not going to be, say I'm going to be taking a shower pretty soon, because I love the earlier phases of it, and I like to just smell it because I like the smell that I get out of here. Yeah, a really nice like masculine dark green sort of smoky scent. Kaleidoscope by DSH Perfumes, one of my favorite indie ones. And this one, it has notes of like, there's lettuce in it, lettuce, neroli, some florals, some citrus, I think, and stuff like that. To me, it smells like Pico de Gallo kind of, but like a more wearable version. And yeah, I really, really like it. DSH fragrances tend to have very low projection and longevity on the lower side, but I like that sometimes. So for me, that is absolutely not a problem, and I prefer that to ones that have super strong projection. A lot of the time it's just too much of a sensory overload for me. So I like that I can get kind of a unique one like this, and that I can wear it in public too and still wear something really unique when it has that kind of vibes, where it's like not having too much in other people's faces, even if it's weird. I don't even think this is that weird though. I love that kind of, that lettuce note in it is interesting. Another by DSH, and the one thing I don't like about DSH is, so all the bottles are the same, because they emphasize like it's all about the juice and whatever, but it is not. I don't like having to look at the bottom to see the name. Like I want to be able to reach for it and not. And I'm sure I'm going to have a bunch more full bottle DSH at some point because they're one of my favorite fragrance houses. So yeah, this one is like horse style leather combined with like some kind of smoked tequila vibes. And just badass. This one taught me, do not smell fragrances after smoking weed. Well, not saying that other people shouldn't, but for me it doesn't work because I remember really, like, I loved this. I could tell really quickly it was so bottle worthy or whatever. Then I like smoked weed, and not like with a vape or anything, but like actual smoke. And then I smelled it, and it smelled so gross to me after. It was just like, ugh. So ever since then, whenever I'm tempted or something, if I was stoned, it's like, I'm not going to fuck with fragrance right now. And I've noticed it's different to smoke. I'm talking about smoking, not like if you're vaping or taking an edible, because it's like the smoke part of it or something but when I'm not stoned, I like that. I don't really wear it much. I also have the rollerball version. But I like it a lot, and it's one of my all-time favorite leather fragrances. Flotholt by Fischersund, really cool, kind of small Iceland company. I need to get some kind of cap for this because this is one that I really would not wear often, but I love the smell, and it gives me a lot of nostalgia and vivid, evocative atmosphere of like really being on like a cold morning on the beach or something like that, in like kind of a smoky way too, but I can't get any smell from it because there's no cap kind of like holding that smell after spraying it. Well, whatever. It's not even how I normally put on fragrance, but I don't want this all up there. Oh, yes, I love that one. And that's the one where it's funny because my friend had said, I think you'd like this one. It's kind of like a coastal marine thing, and they know that I'm not usually into, aquatics and stuff, but I was like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. Like they said it's smoky, like, okay, cool. Those kinds are never full bottle worthy for me, but I'm interested in it, but it ended up being full bottle worthy for me. Love, love, love that one. Hinoki and Hinoki by Sense of Wood. So this is like kind of a meditative, peaceful, calm woods with a lot of depth, but also like very like freshness to it at the same time. And just to me, one of the best woodsy scents, definitely one of the best Hinoki scents. Great quality. Love the bottle. And yeah, I think that Hinoki might be a migraine trigger for me because I notice this sometimes with certain like really strong Hinoki fragrances that when I smell them, it ends up triggering a migraine. And it's not like that's just a thing for most people. I get migraines and they're triggered by very specific things. So I can't wear that one as often as I'd like to, but I love it. Another one that has Hinoki in it. House of Oud and Live in Colors. Love these bottles. I remember when I would see pictures online before, I used to think this was the cap, but no, this is the bottle and that. So my parents' next door neighbor had a Hinoki bush in front of their house, which is weird because I grew up in Berkeley, not Japan, and those are more native to Japan. There really are not a lot of them that have been, at least in terms of that part of the States, imported there, but it was, and I recognized that smell immediately when I smelled this because it has this very like the Hinoki bush has this very like lemony, fresh facet. And that smelled so I thought this was so green when I first smelled it. Like, this is such a green fragrance. How come nobody else is saying that? And I realized just because I was associating it so much with that. But I think most people really get like more of a very citrusy, some white musk and then a little bit of Hinoki out of this. But it just smells so vividly to me like real fresh Hinoki bush. Yeah, and there's things like some pink pepper, a little bit of ginger, but you definitely have to be a fan of like, citrus and Hinoki, but in a very like peppy kind of fresh way. TSVGA Vicki Lin. This one smells strong like a campfire and not like by the fireplace, which already to me and to a lot of people, or on my skin I should say, it really does come out very fiery. I don't get just like, only vanilla and marshmallow. But no, this makes that look like it's just vanilla and marshmallow. This is not for the faint of heart. It's, yeah, very, very, very smoky. I would not wear much of that in public, that's for sure, but I really like that kind of active fire type of smell. Comme de Garcons, black eau de toilette. This is like incense, dark woods. There's some licorice in the opening that wouldn't normally be my thing, but it still just grew on me enough that I like it anyway. And I don't even wear it that often, but I like to smell it, and it just gives me like nice cold weather type of vibes. Yeah, I would say that one leans pretty masculine too. Classic 4711 cologne. Originally came out in the 1800s and was the first like real cologne named after like Cologne, Germany. And it's Neroli stuff, like kind of lavender, rosemary, like citrus aromatic. Has no longevity, no projection, and I mean none. Like it's going to be gone in 15 minutes, but it's super affordable, and you can even keep it in the fridge if you want to or whatever, and just like for a nice like refreshing spritz, or even use it as a room spray. Yeah, I just like that fresh burst of Neroli, and I wouldn't wear it anywhere where I was thinking people were going to smell me, because they're not going to if I'm wearing something with that low longevity and projection, but I really like it. Ugh, it's like 1 a.m., but guess I'll brave potentially being up for hours from taking a tiny smell of this. Cupajoe by BathSabbath. My favorite coffee fragrance. I don't even drink coffee anymore, and I never even liked the smell of coffee growing up or anything or whatever, but I thought for a while in fragrance that I didn't like it, but it really just turned out that I don't like it when it's used with certain other notes, and I don't necessarily like it when it's like sweetie pie latte. I'm not even making fun of that, because I do like a lot of really sweet stuff, but just when it comes to coffee, like I like ones that are like very deep, rich, real coffee type of sense, and this is the best that I have smelled. Also has like a tiny bit of hint of like sweetness, so it's not like bitter, burnt, black coffee, coffee grounds or something like that, but really, really good. It only comes in like little rollerball things. Love to get it to decant, but I have to like pop the top off one of those things. Versace Eros. So even after smelling so many niche things, I still love this. This is one of the few ones that my wife doesn't dislike, that I like a lot. And yeah, just a nice kind of like vanilla mint sort of vibes. And yeah, it's very common. A lot of people wear it, but I love it when I just want to reach for something good that's kind of simple and just an easy reach, and that does have projection and longevity and whatever. Allure Sport by Chanel, the regular one. Not Allure, not Allure Sport Eau Extreme, not Allure Sport Cologne. Like, they really went with some confusing names with that, because like, yeah, the fact that they have a separate Cologne version, when a lot of people would obviously just refer to this, at least in the States, as with any masculine fragrance, as being cologne. But this is like creamy orange tonka with a little bit of woods and kind of like a little bit of ocean air, sea notes type of freshness, and just great everyday easy dumb reach. I think you pretty much wear it in any weather, I think, in any occasion. My wife has complimented this one of the rare ones that she has. A lot of people prefer the Allure Sport Eau Extreme version. I thought I would like that better, but it's a little bit too kind of like aromatic or something for me, and to me I just really like the creamy orange tonka vibes that I get from that. Oroville by Xerjoff. This was just a surprise hit out of nowhere. I guess that's how it works for me with finding my source sandalwood fragrances. I'm always sampling stuff, whatever, so I sampled this, not expecting much. Like, okay, yeah, like I actually do really like a lot of Xerjoff. I think they're very good, but I had never had anything full bottle worthy from them, so it's not usually like, there are some that I really do think are fantastic, but usually it's just like, oh yeah, that's very high quality, like, oh, that's nice. But this, I guess it kind of makes sense, because it has a lot of my favorite notes. It's like Neroli, Mysore sandalwood, galbanum adds this nice kind of like green balance. Not that, clearly greens are not my favorite type of fragrance or something, but it just really works well here. This has tobacco, but it really doesn't smell like tobacco to me at all, and I'm not a big tobacco fan. I don't even dislike it, just, yeah, and some other stuff. But this is like long discontinued, really, really hard to find at most places. I did have one extra bottle that I decanted some of, but yeah, I really like that one. It's the kind that I just love to like smell in general too. Violan Bass, Filippo Sorcinelli. This is based on musical instrument. And this is supposed to be like the stop in the Grand Cathedral piano, or not that this smells based on a piano, but like it really does that smell like kind of like old woods, old like furnished woods, not like in a forest or something like that, like a instrument made of old wood. And it's like cozy and kind of like mysterious and inviting at the same time. I saw one reviewer say that that was like the most challenging fragrance they've ever smelled, which I was shocked by, because I like a lot of challenging stuff. I like a lot of non-challenging stuff too, clearly, by like Eros and whatever, but stuff like TSVGA Vicki Lin and Tyrannosaurus Rex. But I know that that's challenging, so I feel like I can usually recognize when it's like, oh yeah, I really like that, but I can see how other people wouldn't. But this, to me, things can smell different to different people, so that's probably just what it is. But I can't imagine that this would come across that challenging to most people, and most people who I've talked to who've tried it don't find it that challenging, but apparently some people do. Black Parasol by Lovesick Witchery. This one, I think I've like literally never worn this, so this is one that I just want to own because it just makes me so happy to be able to smell. The notes are pink lemonade, ice pops, suntan lotion, and warm sand. Would not have thought something with that notes list would be full bottle worthy for me, or even appealing at all. I would have thought I would find it way too cloying, too sweet, just like everything. But to me, it just smells like happy summer day at the beach. I love the sort of sunscreen vibe that I kind of get from it. Yeah, it almost feels like I really do get that like warm sand type of smell. The pink lemonade doesn't get too sweet, and just I really, really love to smell this when it is hot out. Hocus Pocus by Lovesick Witchery, one of my favorites of all time, and one of definitely the top 2 that I wear in winter. To me, it smells like kind of smoky bakery air, not like fiery, really on fire, but like sort of like incense style smoke. I mean, it does have incense. It's baked sweets, deep resins, and bitter citrus. It's like an incense resinous kind of vibe there, combined with like cookies being baked, and then some bitter citrus that's really well accompanied there. Like, it's not the type of fragrance where the bitter citrus is just like, oh, and the fragrance starts as like orange and all this, and then it fades into a smoky dried out. Like, you get everything right from the beginning, so it just works really well, and absolutely love this. I have the body mist version, and with Lovesick Witchery, their body mists are not like what you might think of when you hear that term. It's not, because I would think something, Bath and Body Works, whatever, like something really, really sheer, really sweet, low quality, or something like that. And some of those can smell really good, so that's not to say that those would smell bad, but I really like the body mist concentration of Lovesick Witchery. To me, it's really nice, and I actually get pretty good longevity and projection from it. But I do also have is it Extrait or Eau de Parfum? The strongest version that they sell is. And I think this one's the Eau de Parfum, actually. But yeah. But usually I tend to I like the body mist one. Something about it, I like to be able to do a lot of sprays of stuff. Next up, Golden Corn Cakes by House of Gloy. Oh, that is good. So I don't wear this one at all. It does not even work with my skin, but that is another one that I own. I love the smell so much. And I don't even, I'm not a big fan of House of Gloy in general. There are some that I definitely like, but it's more just I've tried dozens of theirs. They're just not my type of fragrance house. But this one is the perfect kind of carby gourmand to me. It's corn cakes baked to a golden perfection, topped with butter and honey. But it's not too honey-ish in terms of sickly sweet style honey or anything, like really just like buttery corn cakes. Oh, I just love that smell. It reminds me of like pancakes being cooked, but I guess with a corn cake vibe. Oh, it just smells so good, and it's different from other gourmands. But yeah, it doesn't work on well with my skin, and I don't wear it, but I really like to smell it. So this one was discontinued. I paid a ridiculous amount to get a decant of it from one place that still had it. And that is Cinnamon Bun by Smelly Yeti. Yes, silly name. But this smells like a just delicious, fresh out of the oven frosted cinnamon bun, basically. But like even better than that somehow. And it definitely has that bakery air type of accord that I love, like the Hocus Pocus style. I talked to the perfumer of this one about getting a custom order remade, and I'm hoping to have that happen at some point and be able to send samples to some other people and stuff too. But as for now, I only have a very precious amount, so I really don't wear it, and it's really not my type of thing to wear. I would turn to Hocus Pocus by Lovesick Witchery before this because I like that has like more of a smoky side and stuff, but it just delicious smell and I love it. Let's see. Cartier Declaration Haute Fraîcheur, and this is the only one in my collection that became full bottle worthy, where it's not the type where I would be like, let me take, what a beautiful smell, because usually that's a prerequisite for something to be full bottle worthy for me. I need to feel like I just want to be able to smell it and love it all the time, because usually I can find ones like that I also get, like, oh yeah, I really want to wear that. But the story with this one was that I had some decants out. I had 2 out and I hadn't labeled them yet, and I wasn't sure which they were. I was pretty sure which was which, but I was like, I'm not going to, chance it and sell something to somebody if it might not be the right one, so I'll just wear it myself. It's something I like because I had picked it out for a best of collection of citrus stuff. And then I was like, oh, this works so well. It like just really worked well with my skin. It worked well on clothes. I liked being able to do a lot of sprays of it. It was like that perfect kind of citrus with a little bit of warm spice. I used to really feel like I didn't pick up any spice, but I guess when the more I think about it, I can see how the cardamom is there, but it's just, I like the way it really goes under the citrus and it's not like overtaking it. I can't even really smell it because this doesn't have a cap, but yeah, I like the look of this bottle, I guess, ostensibly, but I always accidentally knock this over because it's so tall and I'm like reaching for something else. It's like, But yep, this is under $100, I think, for a bottle, or like 110 or something like that. And that's one that I can definitely get on wholesale for discount. I mean, actually, some of these. So yeah, we'll link in the description as mentioned where I've decanted most of these, and also for some of them I'll have bottles. Okay, only a few left. Oh, this I don't wear anymore, but it is one of the few that was full bottle worthy for me. Light Blue Love is Love Pour Homme edition by Dolce & Gabbana. It has an ice cream note, but it also has the citrus freshness in it, and I really liked that it was like, yeah, getting that ice cream vibe, but yet it wasn't like, it's not full-on gourmand or anything, or like a vanilla gelato note, really. But then after developing such aversion to certain types of sweet musk after smelling Secretion Magnifique by État Libre d'Orange, which is the opposite of full bottle worthy for me, I just became more sensitive to certain types of musk, and whatever it is in here, so this is not something I would enjoy wearing anymore, but I'm still going to include it in here because it was one of very, very few designers that made the cut, and I can still enjoy this smell, in small doses and stuff, and I like the sort of like ice creamy meets citrus vibe of it. Let's see, I think we're down to 3. Vico di Amalfi by Acqua di Parma. That is, as with like the Peradam, for example, one of the scents that just elicits the biggest reaction to me of just smelling it. It's like, that is beautiful. So I remember I think Lacoste was probably the first major fig scent that I tried that I realized like, oh, that's what fig smells like or whatever. And I was so surprised because I thought I pictured being younger, it's like fig was like the boring dessert flavor for cookies or whatever compared to good stuff or something like that. So I was like, oh wow, it's really good, whatever. And then I was on a mission to find, because Lacoste doesn't work well with my skin as much as I love the scent in general, like what's going to be my perfect fig full bottle worthy. And out of everything I've tried, this is still my favorite. It's like fig. It also has some jasmine, grapefruit, and then some like smooth woods and stuff. I love the bottle too. But yeah, love that one. And I wear that quite a bit, but I don't usually have the same experience wearing it as I do when I like just take it off. Like, it's for me, the number one thing I love is to just smell it, because I feel like sometimes it doesn't, if I'm like sweating too much, like it pushes out, I don't know, it just doesn't smell the exact way that I want it to sometimes when I wear it in different weather and contexts, but I love the smell so much. Okay, so these two really are my top 2 ever. This was not in order as mentioned, but oh no, wait, okay, there's one other one first. Comme des Garcons self-titled 2011, And this has notes of like industrial glue and packing tape and things like that. And it really, reminds me of the smell of like doing art projects as a kid. And also like has a very like saffron-y leather type of accord mixed with lilac. And I just think I love smelling it. Just like nostalgic for real, art projects, or even like, I don't know, the scent of paper coming out of a fax machine or something when I was younger. But I also just like the smell in general, and I think it's interesting. I wish the bottle just stood up by itself, but okay, I keep thinking, what if there's some bottle that wasn't here, but it's like, what is it going to be like? Oh, that one was at the dry cleaners when I filmed my video. Like, they're all here. The only thing would be if I skipped any, but I don't think I did. So, okay, my actual top 2 by the fireplace. This is the one, actually neither of these 2. I have not decanted either of these because I really wanted to see what it would take for me, when I actually run out or whatever, and how much I really use of it. Because first of all, a lot of my fragrances, like I said, I like to just smell them, not necessarily really wear all of them all the time. That's more for specific ones. And even the ones I wear, there's just different ones that I choose between, different weather and stuff like that. So I'm not really going through bottles usually. But this, I can do 10 sprays of this, and I love being able to do that. That's why I love stuff that doesn't have such massive, that's not as fun to me if I can only do like one fragrance. And I mean, I can see why, especially like for economic reasons, that would be nice to just do one and then you're good. But I like to just like have it all over and stuff, and it's a fun spraying experience to me when I can do something like that, especially when it's something that kind of lasts the bottle for a while and is on the more affordable end compared to niche. But yeah, basically like smells like a toasted marshmallow in a campfire. I usually can't smell this without the cap, but I did just spray this recently, so now I kind of still can. Love it. Again, so many niche fragrances later, still just, and this wasn't like something where, oh, I loved this when I still only smelled designers, so now it's for nostalgia reasons I still like it. I had smelled niche too, and stuff when I tried this, so it isn't even for that reason. I just genuinely love By the Fireplace so much. And my signature scent, Aroma Sexy Man. So this is one that I really did. And okay, so my actual signature scent of it is the solid cologne version. This does smell very similar, but it just doesn't have the same effect to me. And the solid cologne just works so well with my skin, and just, really nice. So by Aroma. So this was one when I was getting more into fragrance. I was like, I'm only going to seek out really ethical companies and, vegan this and that, and like, no, I mean, I would hope, because I don't even think it's allowed to do animal testing now in the States, at least for most of these. But either way, like, it was really just like, I'm just going to look for ones that's a small business and this and that. And this was ones when I was still in that phase, but I happened to find this one at that time that this many thousands of fragrance later has still stuck as my signature scent. So this has notes of like mandarin orange, incense, leather, mint, woods. I think that's kind of it, but it's so fresh. Like, it's very, a lot of people get a very like just fresh out of the shower type of smell from this, especially the spray version. I would say that the solid cologne is a lot more like sexy vibes, and this is not a lie, and this is still true. The only fragrance that my wife has ever said, in terms of like a wearable cologne style fragrance and not like aftershave lotion or something like that my wife has ever used the word sexy about, every single time she has, and she didn't know what I was wearing, it was Aroma Sexy Man. So I guess it does live up to the name, but very, very low projection longevity, whether you're using the spray or the solid cologne. I was so excited to be a actual reseller. Well, I guess most people with a seller's permit could have just bought wholesale from them too or whatever, but I was just excited to be able to officially sell the solid cologne because it just felt like, that's my scent or whatever. I guess I'll decant some of the spray version too for people who want to try a spray version, but what I really, really recommend is the solid cologne. And I think it's only I know because I sell it, it's only $15 for a tin, and it usually lasts me a while, but I still like this for like just an easy spritz and stuff, but it's just not the same to me as the effect of the solid cologne, and I wear that one every single night, or 90% of nights, to bed. And I like Aroma solid colognes in general. I would love to see more solid colognes, actually, because they just have this effect of sometimes like working better and really like sinking into your skin in a nice way. And yeah, so I guess this is really everything. I didn't miss anything. No, I think this is it. My longest video ever, no doubt. And here it is, finally. I'll obviously have to update this. I'm sure there'll be more full bottle worthies coming. My hit rate is like 1 in 150 or something like that I try, and I have not, as of recording this, had time to try as many lately, but I'm sure there's going to be more full bottle worthies on the way. But as of now, this is everything that is full bottle worthy to me. Just because something isn't here does not at all mean that I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 fragrance even or something like that. But I'll link in the description also my video of my criteria for what constitutes something being full bottle worthy for me or not, because it's just like I really want to not just have this huge, for so many reasons, collection of a million things. Like I want everyone to feel like really special to me for different reasons, and that's what I got. So yeah.